everyone! Thanks for clicking on this video. You're probably here because you watched my first video. If you haven't, well, here's the link. Check it out. It's our experience of processing all the papers that we needed to get married in the Philippines. This video is about us registering our marriage in the Philippines to the French government through the French embassy. And I will also tell you guys how I processed my spouse visa, which is very easy once you already have the registration in France. Normally, this process takes about 9 months in total, or at least that's what they're gonna tell you. You'd be surprised because we only did it in 2 months. And this is how we did it. These are the main requirements that you will be needing in order to register your marriage. So number 1 is the marriage contract or the marriage certificate copy that's given to you by the local civil registry where you got married. So the city where you got married. So even if you were married in the church, you will still have to register your marriage in a local municipality. And this is where you'll get this document. So again, number 1 that you need is the marriage certificate that's given to you by the local civil registry. And it has to be the certified true copy. It doesn't have to be the original one. It has to be the certified true copy. The second requirement that you need is the PSA copy of your marriage certificate. So this one is the tricky one because it usually takes about 6 months to get this after your wedding. So I'll show you how we managed to get it in just 3 weeks. And the last requirement that you need is just a form that you can download from the French embassy website. Again, fill it in English and in French. It's basically a request for the translation of the marriage from the Philippines to France. So how did we get these 2 documents? Fairly easy. Tip: if you're really in a hurry, go back to where you got married as soon as possible. In our case, we went back there the day after our wedding. And there, meaning in the municipal hall where we got married, okay? So how did we get the first document? Fairly easy. I went to the local civil registry office and I requested for the certified true copy. But before they actually give it to you, you need to have the original copy. And this one we got from the mayor's office right after we got married. So make sure to bring that with you. Once you show it to them, they'll just make you fill up a form and give to you the certified true copy right away, no questions asked. Easy, right? And the second document, this one is the tricky part because it usually takes 6 months. So the normal process is that you don't need to do anything. You just wait until it's available in PSA and you request it through PSA Service. But it takes 6 months and we don't have 6 months. What did we do to cut 6 months to 3 weeks? Since I was already in the local civil registry office for the document number 1, I utilized this time to actually request from them as well an endorsement letter to endorse our documents to PSA so that then we can request for a PSA copy which we will be needing for the embassy. This endorsement process is fairly normal. It's just that not a lot of people know it. So that's a tip for you to cut the processing short. The way it happened was I had to sign again a form, pay for the fee, and they gave me an envelope where it included our original copy of the marriage certificate, the endorsement letter, and some other things. And they're not gonna send it to PSA themselves. So they gave it to me, and I had to go to LBC to have it sent to PSA myself. I cannot go to PSA directly because that's the process. So make sure to find the nearest LBC and send it as soon as possible. Because of COVID, there was no next day delivery, so we had to wait for 3 days in order for PSA to receive this endorsement. Once they have received it, what we did was to go to PSA. You don't really need an appointment. You just have to go to the main office in East Avenue QC, fill up their form there, and apply for the PSA copy of your marriage certificate. Tip: if you want to finish fast, be there fast. I went there myself at 4 a.m. and I finished around 7. But it was fairly fast once I was already there. What I passed to PSA was the request form that I can get from their office. and another document that was also given to me by the local civil registry when they did the endorsement. I think it's a copy of the endorsement letter. So I just had to show it to them, paid the fee. They asked me to go back after 3 weeks. They really give you the exact date that you have to go back and the time. So that's very, very convenient. So there, I managed to get it in 3 weeks. Tip: request for the most number of copies that you can get. I think there's no limit, but in my case, I took 4 just in case. Because it's much more hassle to go back there and request for it again rather than just requesting and paying for the fee. Anyway, it's not that expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it's just about 100 per document, but double check. It doesn't end there. This PSA copy has to be apostilled. Again, similar to your birth certificate or your Senomar, any government documents that is not the original, it has to be apostilled. And DFA, make sure to book at least 3 weeks in advance because slots can get really full fast. If you're in a hurry, schedule as soon as you can. So after 3 weeks from our marriage, we now have all the documents that we needed. The last thing we just needed to do was call up the embassy and schedule our appointment. So again, if you're in a hurry, ask them the earliest possible date. And that's what we did. Once you're there, they will tell you that the marriage contract translation from the Philippines to France takes about 3 months. But again, if you watch my previous video, we wanted to move to France by the end of 2020. And this time it was already November when we applied for the translation. So we didn't really have 3 months. We really needed to get it in 1 month. And that's what we did. How did we do it? Maybe this is an exception and maybe this is something that you won't really be able to do. But if in case, this is what we did. My husband, again, is a foreigner. He's French, working in the Philippines, and he has a work visa here. Unfortunately, he was working for an industry that was heavily affected by COVID. So his work visa was actually expiring in January 2021. What we did was show the French embassy that his visa was expiring in January. So we really didn't have 3 months to wait for the marriage certificate so that we can move to France. We emailed them, we called them up. We actually emailed all the emails possible in the embassy for them to know that this is our situation. They never confirmed to us that we will be able to get it in a month. They still kept on telling us that no, it's impossible, you'll get it in 3 months. But yes! After 1 month, they emailed us that it's ready. So we went back to the embassy to get our French marriage certificate. Along with this, they will actually give you the livret de famille or the family book, but you won't really be needing this for when you apply for the spouse visa, which I needed to do for us to move to France. And this is the process for that. Once we have the French marriage certificate, it's super easy to apply for the spouse visa, and I don't think they really deny anyone for this visa unless your documents are not really clear or you don't really have the French marriage certificate. So I just needed 3 things to get my visa. Number 1 is the French marriage certificate, of course. Second is my husband's passport and his national ID. And the third one is the printed application form that I filled in through VFS Global website. So here's the process for applying for it. So I just went to the VFS Global website, filled up their application form. It's fairly easy. They will just ask you about personal details, your plans on traveling, how long do you intend to stay in France, why are you staying there, and stuff like that. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll gladly help you fill up the form. So I filled that form in. Once that's done, I set up an appointment with VFS in their other website. Note that in the VFS website, they only show slots within the week. So you cannot really book in advance. So take note of that. Once I have my form and my appointment, I just printed in my form, brought all the other documents, and went to the office of VFS, which is in Makati along Buendia Avenue. When I was there, I just had to wait for other people to pass their applications. I just passed my documents and I did the biometrics and the photo ID and the signature. and then that was it. No questions asked. The visa was free because I'm a spouse, and they just told me that it's gonna take 15 working days to a month or even up to 2 months depending on the decision of the embassy. Again, another long wait that we needed to do. By this time, it was already December, and we really needed to go before January, before the expiration of my husband's work visa. Given that the embassy was already aware of our situation when we requested for the marriage certificate, we emailed them again reiterating that we really need to leave before my husband's work visa expire. Otherwise, it's gonna be sad for him to leave alone and I'll just follow. I mean, after all, we were just newlyweds. We didn't even have our honeymoon yet at this time. So we really appealed to their hearts. We emailed them, we called them, and we really asked them if they can fast track my visa application. Note, this was already in December and most of them were already taking their vacation. So we were really getting nervous at this time if we were be able to get the visa on time. But luckily, with enough planning, enough luck, and 2 days after Christmas, the embassy emailed us and said that my visa was ready. Yes! But note that VFS at this time was only open every Tuesday and Thursdays. And we got the confirmation from the visa on a Monday. And it was also during the Christmas holidays, so there was a lot of hurdles to this. We asked the embassy, because it was ready, is there any way we can get it directly from the embassy instead of VFS? For some reason, they just told us that we can get it from VFS that day, and we did. So we went there to pick up my visa. Tip, make sure to double check all the documents that you have because there can be mistakes. You'll be surprised. When I got my visa, I was super happy. I didn't really check it. I went down, my husband was waiting for me and he said, "Did you check the visa?" And I'm like, "Not really." So good thing he checked it, because in my visa, the validity was actually starting 2021 instead of 2020. Imagine if I didn't check it, I wouldn't be able to go to France. What we did was call up the embassy again and tell them the issue. What can we do? We're leaving soon. And they were kind enough to let us go to the embassy. I had to basically do the process again of the biometrics and the photo that is required for the visa. And after 3 hours, they made us go back and my new visa was released. So we finally got everything that we needed. We're ready to go to France, except for one more thing. As a Filipino, if you plan on migrating abroad, you actually need to get a certificate or a sticker from CFO, which is the Commissions on Filipinos Overseas, to register you as a migrant, and that this acts as like your exit visa. To get this, you normally have to attend a physical seminar for a few days, if I'm not mistaken, and then they will give you or issue you the sticker that you need to leave the country. Because we did this process during the pandemic, they transferred everything online. I was super lucky that it was online. Instead of a physical seminar, I had to do a telecounseling session with someone. To get this appointment with the telecounselor, I just actually had to go to their website and click on the counseling for the spouse visa like this one. And then they will email you their number and a schedule for your telecounseling. You just have to call them. They will give you a telecounseling for an hour. This counseling, they will just ask you about your relationship, your marriage, your plans, why do you plan to move, etc., etc. It's fairly easy. They will also tell you stuff about living abroad if you haven't lived abroad. That's it. After the call, you just pay the fee online. They will send you the full instructions anyway. You just follow it. You pay for the fee. And then after about an hour or two, you will receive the sticker. In total, this process from booking the appointment with a telecounselor up to having the certificate took me about 3 days. So don't worry about that. It's easy. But make sure that you do it, because even if you have a spouse visa for France, but you don't have the CFO, you will not be allowed to leave the country. The immigration will stop you from leaving the country. That's very important. So CFO certificate, CFO sticker, get it. So that's it, guys. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope I was able to help you even just a bit. Good luck on the processing of your papers, and I hope to see you in France once you're here. So have a good day and bye!